I'm Mo.
Hi, I'm Jenoa.
And we're having
the Sex Talk.
And today we are going to talk about...
Well, we had a request from a friend of mine on Facebook to talk about trans women and issues surrounding trans women. But I wanted to have a disclaimer first and say that we are trans allies.
Yes.
And we wanted to speak specifically to the fact that as cisgendered women,
we cannot possibly speak on the experience of
no, we can't. And really, trans women should be given the microphone to talk about their own experience, and we wanted to make that really clear. It was a request that we talk about this from a trans woman, and from the place of an ally, I want to put some information out there and just help educate people. But really, you know, trans women sisters should be doing it for themselves. Now, I don't want to take away any space from a voice from a woman who is trans, who identifies as trans, who wants to speak for herself, because that's what should be happening. So, right. Disclaimer over.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out is the identity of transgender, is not something that we can say someone identifies themselves as. Mm-hmm. We can't call an individual trans unless they told us that that's what they identify as.
Right.
We also can't, honestly, we can't even say trans woman, because some individuals don't want to even use those pronouns. He, she, they're really binary.
Yeah.
You know? So,
and some people do identify as a binary female or male or whatever. And then the thing is that people are beginning to realize is that not everybody identifies that way. So we have to really open our minds a little bit about all the different shades of gender and sexuality and sex. And that, well, let's talk about the difference between sex and gender, first of all.
I feel like using the word sex to identify a gender is kind of this antiquated concept. So let's start there.
It's complicated.
Yeah. What's your sex? You know, you still see it on a form, sex, male or female. And that's just old school. It should say gender and it should be blank.
Right.
Because gender, there's not two genders. There's infinity genders.
Right.
And no one gets to decide but me or you what we identify as. That, I think, is the most important thing, is not to label someone. I think you were mentioning earlier that you had dated someone that was a trans woman who identified it as a trans woman.
Right.
And you got some interesting questions about that. Yeah,
I still get interesting questions about that. I'm what they call a gold star lesbian, at least at time of taping. Who knows in the future. And what that means is that you've never had sex with a man, aka you've never had a penis in your vagina. That's all it means. It just means you haven't done that thing, whatever. So people would ask me like, well, what did you guys do? Because this trans woman had not had any surgery. She hadn't had any surgery to change her genitalia, so she had a penis. And here's the thing. Just because you have a certain body part doesn't mean that you necessarily identify with it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you want to use it in its traditional way. In particular, this woman, she did not identify with her penis as a penis. She didn't want to do penis-like drilling with it, and she identified as a lesbian. She was a lesbian who happened to be born with a body shaped like that.
Yeah, so I think what we're getting at is you just have to go with what they tell you.
Yeah, because they know better than you.
Go with what others tell you. If they say, I'm a trans woman.
Yeah.
I mean, people are always asking, are you pre-op, are you post-op? And I feel like, who cares?
Yeah, see, that's...
Are you guys asking me, is my nipple pierced? You know, I don't, it just feels like...
It's really personal and invasive. And you're also talking about a part of their body that perhaps, and not always, they might not be comfortable with. Like, you know, I have a friend, she doesn't love her penis, you know? I mean, she doesn't identify with it, she doesn't feel comfortable with it, she hasn't gotten any surgery, and people have a lot of different reasons for that. And it's none of your business, first of all. And it doesn't change them as a person that you might want to be friends with, or even want to date, you know? It doesn't have anything to do with anything. They're still a person who's interesting or not interesting, or beautiful or not beautiful, or, you know, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that a lot of people might out of curiosity and out of respect, want to get to understand. So when someone says I'm a trans woman, well, are you pre-op or post-op? And it might not be rude. It kind of depends on the context.
Well, it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like back in the day, not as much now, but it still happens. Like gay people would ask us a lot of questions all the time about, because gay was not so known then, you know? And it depends on the person. Sometimes I felt like being outreach and telling them all my personal business about being gay
and not having a penis.
You know, sometimes I felt comfortable educating that person, and sometimes it was just none of their fucking business, you know? And it's the same for anybody.
Yeah.
So don't assume that they want to answer your questions about their personal life.
Right.
Don't.
Right.
Don't assume.
Yeah.
If
and
they
don't
do,
label them for them.
Yeah, and if they do, then, you know, have the conversation, but respect people's privacy. Respect the fact that they are more than their body parts. And also, more than anything, respect who someone tells you they are, because they know better than you. It might not, this woman might not look like the woman that you imagined a woman would look like for whatever reason, but if she's saying I'm a woman, respect that. If she's saying I'm trans, respect that. If she says I'm a non-binary gender, respect that. If she says whatever her pronoun is, respect that. Just have a little respect that you might not understand other people's reality and how they experience life in their body. Like, don't make assumptions. Don't assume that because a woman is trans that she's a drag queen. Don't assume that she only dates men. I have a friend who's trans and she's a lesbian and she's recently transitioning and she's trying to figure out the lesbian world, you know? Not everyone is identified by what their genitalia is shaped like, and we shouldn't identify them that as either. We should learn from them who they are and respect it. Sex talk.
Sex talk.